Hey there, what developers talk about the weapon customization, super credit buff for higher difficulties. They give details on why it's expensive to get new voice lines into the game, and there's so much more I'll be going over. If you would like to support the channel, please hit the like button below by tapping the thumbs up button. At any point, subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's go over news about weapon customization. There's a developer who has just confirmed they had weapon customization in Helldivers 2 previously, before it was publicly launched. However, since it was not fully developed at the time, they couldn't feature it in the game. The good news is that they might revisit it again in the near future. There's a post on the official Helldivers 2 Discord where a game director named Safez responded to a member who asked if it's true that Helldivers 2 is receiving a weapon attachment system. The response from the game director can be seen here, and he said, "We've had weapon customization in the game previously, but it wasn't fully developed at the time. We might revisit it in the future though." Now, I don't talk about leaks on this channel a lot, yet we know from the data mine info in the past that there were mentions of customization. Nonetheless, just recently Iron Sights had data mined the menu. It appears this wasn't in the patches previously until recently with the latest Illuminate update that dropped during the Game Awards. With that being said, if you would like to not see the menu, feel free to skip ahead by choosing a timestamp below in the description. So now that you have a fair warning, I'm now going to showcase the customization menu. I first want to say this menu is obviously not done just yet. Even Iron Sights had mentioned in his post that the UI or user interface is quite buggy. This is mainly due to the fact it's incomplete, it's not done just yet, and the team at Arrowhead is still working on it. What we can see as well is that there are options to choose and swap out ammo types, magazines, optics, and I'm sure there will be more choices added once it's fully developed and working. Overall, if Arrowhead continues to work on it, we could very well see a full functioning weapon customization down the road at some point. So, would you like to be able to customize your weapons, or would this be something you wouldn't like to see? I'd like to know your overall thoughts about it. With that aside, the Chief Creative Officer, Mr. Pillistead, had responded to a player on the Helldivers 2 Reddit page about super credits. There's a question here that the Helldiver asked. This person wanted to know if Arrowhead has plans to adjust the uneven super credit earnings per difficulty and wish they could earn them on higher difficulties, instead of farming super credits on difficulty level 1. Mr. Pillistead replied back saying that he wouldn't want to cause another controversy. We can see the proof right here, and the Chief Creative Officer replied back with, "Dude, I agree, but it's a bit too sensitive to rebalance it. I know our design director wanted to change it, so we flip it to make the highest difficulties pay the most. But the team can't stand another controversy, so it'll have to happen next year or later." So far, it looks like we will not see a super credit update until possibly later on next year. My opinion on this, and I could be wrong here, so feel free to chime in down below in the comments and let me know, since I don't speak for the whole community. Yet I 100% believe this would not cause any sort of controversy. It would actually be well received by the fanbase, at least in my opinion, especially since the recent Killzone 2 controversy was all about fear of missing out and not being able to pick up enough credits within the rotation time to buy the items. If they were to buff the super credits to a reasonable amount, I think the community would absolutely love it. Right now, it's sort of a brain-numbing process to just sit and farm multiple missions on difficulty 1, so introducing a new way to receive super credits would be helpful and possibly fun to do instead of what we have to do now. Next, we have finally received the fast Recon vehicle stratagem after successfully defending an attack from the Illuminate. You can now purchase it at the terminal for 25,000 requisition slips on the Super Destroyer. The cooldown time is not bad at all. It's 480 seconds, so basically an 8-minute cooldown with a call-in time of 10 seconds. And lastly, the uses are unlimited. You can call in as many as you want within the mission time. The vehicle is actually fun to use on Terminate and Automaton planets as well. Had a blast roaming around with the fast Recon vehicle, and I think you'll enjoy it too. If you haven't picked it up just yet, you can do it right now, and it's pretty cheap to buy. Moving along, I've seen a lot of requests in the past for more voices in game. The reason we haven't seen any new voice lines is mainly because it's expensive. The game director replied to a member on the official Helldivers 2 Discord. This person here simply said that we need more voice lines. The game director Safez said this in response: "It would be cool, but it's also a massive undertaking. Adding an extra voice means we need to hire a voice actor, a studio for recording it, record the voice actor saying all existing voice lines, do that for all the different languages we support, implement all the audio, implement all localized subtitles, QA test it all to make sure everything works, and probably a ton of other stuff I'm not aware of. It's not a cheap thing to do. So as I've mentioned, sadly it costs a lot to introduce new voice lines, and I don't think we'll see new voices in the long run. Maybe it will happen, but as of right now, it appears it's too expensive for Arrowhead. If you were wondering about whether or not Helldivers 2 will receive new dialogue, then the answer to that is no. It won't happen again as of right now. Who knows, they could change their plans as, time goes on, yet there's no certainty that it will happen. Speaking of costs, we all know that the recent Killzone 2 controversy happened, and a lot of players were not happy with the prices and the fear of missing out. But there appears to be a reason behind it. They wanted to earn more revenue so they could bring in more co-developers to produce content. Also, recently, we would not have received the Omens of Tyranny update if it wasn't for the co-developers. The CEO, Shams, mentioned in a response that part of the Omens of Tyranny patch was developed by co-development studios. The confirmation can be seen here, and the CEO wrote this in response. My wording could have been better. I meant to say that the better the game does, the more stuff we can do. Parts of Omens of Tyranny was made by co-development studios that we could not have done unless you find folks supported us through super credit purchases. It seems we wouldn't have received a great update like the Omens of Tyranny or possibly the fast Recon vehicle if it wasn't for us all supporting the game through purchasing super credits. Plus, even the Chief Creative Officer, Mr. Pillestead, had gone into detail recently about the whole process and how it works. He also explained more about what the CEO meant when a player brought up how Shams supposedly said that we as players need to purchase more so they can create more content. However, that's not true at all. The official response from the CCO, Mr. Pillestead, can be seen here, and he said, that's not really what he meant. He was saying that Helldivers 2 as an ecosystem needs to be sustainable. At some point, we won't have new players coming into the game, and the continued development of the game is based on whether we are sustainable. Each free update that takes 130 people to make is expected to be sustained by in-game purchases created by a smaller team of about 20. This cycle continues until it stops working, at which point the story ends. Same as any business, if we out-earn and there is a higher desire to support the game, the reinvestment in the game will be larger. Conversely, if we are doing worse, the investment will be smaller. Well, it's a double-edged sword essentially, right? The Arrowhead team wants to produce more content, which is awesome and great. However, at the same time, there's a portion of the player base that doesn't like the idea of purchasing super credits. Although, to be fair, I completely get that microtransactions are not loved by many, but at some point you have to think that supporting the devs is a good idea. Now, I'm not saying that you have to support every game that has microtransactions, because it's actually a bad idea. I don't approve of microtransactions, but what I am saying is that there are a few selected studios out there that deserve the support and love from the player base. For example, Helldivers 2. Personally, I will continue to support them by purchasing super credits. I want to see the whole entire Arrowhead team thrive and create cool content for us that they also enjoy creating. And sure, I get it that not everyone is going to share the same opinion that I have. I just genuinely appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears that the Arrowhead team have put into Helldivers 2. I don't know, you guys can let me know how you feel about it, but I don't think it's a bad idea to support Arrowhead at all by purchasing super credits. Now, the pricing wasn't too good on the Killzone 2 crossover, but that will, of course, change for future crossovers, and I'm excited for whatever they have planned. Since we're on the crossover topic, did you all know that recently the Ghost Ship Games CEO had visited the Arrowhead game studio? Well, before we get into that, I'd first like to briefly say that if you don't know about Ghost Ship Games, they developed the one and only Deep Rock Galactic. Yep, rock and stone, brother. Anyway, we know for a fact that this happened recently. The game director, Safez, brought it up in a response and said this right here. The Ghost Ship Games CEO was visiting us the other week. We did a lot of knowledge sharing. Would be awesome to do a collab with them. This is absolutely cool to know that they shared knowledge, and possibly we might see another planned crossover in the upcoming months. Of course, that's speculation on my behalf, but we know that the team at Arrowhead wants to collab, considering Pillestead had mentioned in the past that they want to collab, yet at the same time, the game wasn't in a good spot, and he brought up how they need to improve Helldivers 2, and this was 4 months ago. Also, Ghost Ship Games had emailed them in the past about collaborating together on Twitch. They specifically said this during the stream about 9 months ago. We emailed Arrowhead a while back to say, hey guys, let's put our heads together and do something, but we haven't heard back from them via email, so this is our next shot. We couldn't think of any other way to do it than to play their game live on stream and say, Arrowhead, what you guys doing? Please answer our emails, let's talk, let's put our heads together and see if we can cook something up. So I'd say it's safe to assume a crossover could very well happen, since this has been talked about for a while now. It's just a matter of time and planning it just right. If you would like to check it out yourself, I will leave all the sources in the description so that you can see it for yourself, and it's all in the description. Last but not least, I want to bring up one more thing about crossovers. One of the reasons why Arrowhead had given out the second page of items is to not screw over players who had purchased the first list of items. The game director specifically wrote this in response and said, "Any support helps, and we specifically only made the second page free to not screw over people who bought the first one, like you." That's kind of Arrowhead to think more about the player base instead of most studios that would simply do nothing at all and basically sweep it all underneath the rug. Instead, they handed out this second page for free and didn't mind doing so. How about we now go over your recommended loadout from the previous video? All you have to do to be featured in the next one is to post a comment below with your loadout that you like to use. Also, if you have already posted a comment previously, feel free to post it again and I might feature it. We've got a comment from MMM-X7I8G with a loadout called Main Character. We have the crossbow for 2-shotting overseers to the body and 1 shot if you can aim directly at the head. It's also amazing for crowd control. The secondary is the stun lance with peak physique passive to increase our melee damage. All it takes is 2 shots to the Vola's body and about 3 to 4 shots to the overseers. Not only that, the impact grenades will help with crowd control. Stratagem wise, we have the shield generator backpack for blocking incoming damage and survivability. The second stratagem, Eagle Strafer Run, to take out the Illuminate hordes and weaken warp ships so we can blow it up with our crossbow. Speaking of that, we also have the 500 kg bomb for blowing up ships and harvesters. Lastly, the stalwart for enemies that are in groups, and overall I dig the loadout. It's similar to what I use except a little different. Nonetheless, I like it and I think it deserves a 5 out of 5 Helldiver medals. With everything being said, this is your Helldivers 2 news. We're now going to check out the top 3 comments from the previous video. If you guys would like to be featured, again, all you have to do is comment down below and I might select it if you get enough upvotes. The first top comment is by Ashfallen1. This is why this game should have been GOTY. These devs are the devs we should have in the gaming industry. In my opinion, I have to say, I think they might just be the best developers yet so far. Of course, that's debatable, right? Anyways, I think the Arrowhead team is really good at what they do. They listen, they communicate, they talk to us, they let us know what's going on, and then they react in the most positive way. The second top comment is by Miguel. Them gifting the second half of the war bond makes me more inclined to go ahead and get the first one. You know what? I think you're right, and I think a lot of people agree with you. Also, I'm almost done with it completely. I just need to pick up 2 more items, and then I have the whole entire set. The last and final comment is by Tabanko5673. Hey, it's you again, buddy, and I saw your comment in the Discord, so awesome to see you again. You wrote, "Big party this Saturday on Meridia with Illuminates, Terminates, and General Brash. You are all invited except the automatons." You know what? I believe I commented on this saying that I would bring some fresh squid, and I will definitely do that. Also, if you want to, buddy, just send me a friend request or I'll actually talk to you about it and we can play together. I think that would be cool. Okay, with the top comments aside, I personally want to thank each and every single one of you who have supported this channel the entire year, and even the new subscribers that just joined the channel. Hope you all have a great Christmas. I know we're not there just yet, and I'll probably end up making another video before then. However, again, I hope you all have a great Christmas. I am genuinely thankful for all the support this month, and all of you that have supported the channel in the last few months. It's been overwhelming in the best possible way, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this without your support. By you watching these videos, you have been helping me support my niece and nephew through rough times. Recently, their mother had passed away, and I can't thank you enough for that alone, for just helping me support them and just everything, guys. It means a lot. So, again, my balls just dropped. I can't speak right. Apparently, my voice is all crackly, but yeah, you get the point, guys. I'm thankful for everything. You guys are just amazing out there. And I hope you guys have a great Christmas. Have a solid day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.